Welcome back to Cityline. We are in our final fabulous segment, and with me, I have three individuals who are here to talk about Green Tacoma Days. And isn't every day a Green Tacoma Day? Please join me in welcoming Charlie Vogelheim. You are the Forterra Green Cities Project Manager. Welcome to Cityline, Charlie.
Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here. You brought with you Abby Vanover. Abby, you are a Tacoma Tree Foundation Communications Specialist, which makes me want to say that you are a tree whisperer.
That's more my boss. I just talk nice sometimes.
I love that. And then, of course, Amy Boucher. Good morning, Amy. You are with Metro Parks, and you are a community and special project manager. Welcome, Amy.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Great to have all of you here. Okay, Charlie. So I can hear people saying, Amanda asked the question, what is Green Cities Partnership and how does Green Tacoma Partnership fit in with that?
Yeah, so I work for a nonprofit based in Washington called Forterra, and we work to enhance, support, and steward our region's most precious resources, its people and its ecosystems. And we've been around for about 30 years, and 15 years ago, we launched a network of 14 green cities and one green county across the Puget Sound. Now, these are partnerships between city and state government, nonprofits, tribal governments, businesses, and residents who all collaborate towards one goal, and that is caring for our green spaces within our cities. So our vision is for a network of green city partnerships across the region to create a system of healthy urban forests and green spaces. And these are spaces that provide important access to nature, and they provide critical benefits to our communities, such as mitigating the effects of climate change, providing clear air and water, and preserving wildlife habitat. So the Green Tacoma Partnership was one of our first green city partnerships. It was founded about 15 years ago, and Tacoma as a city was one of the first cities in our region to recognize the value of these healthy urban forests and commit to this much needed natural area restoration and care. So the Green Tacoma Partnership includes so many different partners. It's the City of Tacoma, the Tacoma Tree Foundation, the Pierce Conservation District, Metro Parks Tacoma, us at Forterra, our partners at Earth Corps, Tacoma School District, Tacoma Community College, Port of Tacoma, and most importantly, the residents and volunteers in the City of Tacoma itself. So the Green Tacoma Partnership is rooted in the community and powered for the most part by volunteers who are caring for the land, the trees, and the city that they love. So volunteers are really what make the Green Tacoma Partnership special and successful.
So Charlie, all of that clarity, how does it funnel into Green Tacoma Day and Arbor Day?
Yeah, great question. So Green Tacoma Day is our celebration of the Green Tacoma Partnership's work to restore and manage these green spaces. And Green Tacoma Day has become an annual tradition here every October, where we celebrate these coordinated citywide efforts. And historically, it's been our largest volunteering event of the year, with over, I think recent years, over 200 simultaneous volunteers caring for their spaces across the city. This is the time of year when the weather is conducive to begin to start planting plants. So it's really special for a lot of volunteers, since it's often the first day of the cool season when we can start planting trees and shrubs in our natural areas. Arbor Day celebrates the planting and growing and caring of Tacoma's trees. And for 26 years, the Arbor Day Foundation has recognized Tacoma as a Tree City USA for the city's commitment to maintaining healthy tree canopy. And so given the overlap between these two events, we celebrate both Green Tacoma Day and Tacoma's Arbor Day simultaneously.
So Abby, given all that Charlie just said, Green Tacoma Day is usually celebrated through in-person events. How have the events changed this year in response to the pandemic?
Well, there's kind of two big changes. The first is that this year we actually have Green Tacoma Days, and it will be a 4-day event from Thursday through Sunday. And the second biggest change is that obviously a lot of our events and activities will now be happening virtually. And it's a really big emphasis on having participants take individual actions in their homes and communities that help protect and restore the natural environments. And one component we're really excited about is that participants can download the Goose Chase app on their cell phones, join a team, and sign up for a virtual scavenger hunt. And they can go around town and you complete actions and activities, and everyone you complete earns you points. And points earn you some really cool Green Tacoma Days merchandise/swag that we would then send to you.
I love that. So you mentioned downloading an application, but if I want to back up, if I don't know anything about planting a tree or protecting a green space, where do I go to get that information?
Pretty much every event and activity is really focused on learning. It's this year we want you to go out and explore and interact with your community in a new way. And so pretty much every event or activity is structured to help you learn. You can go into this knowing nothing and walk out knowing tree species or where to go to volunteer in Tacoma to restore sites. Or we have a whole webinar on how to plant trees along with interactive graphics. So again, you could come in knowing nothing and leave knowing a lot. And that's our core goal this year.
I love that. So Amy, how can someone join Green Tacoma's partnership in an effort to care for everything in this city that we love?
Well, there are a few ways that you can join our efforts. One, you can download the app. You can join the Goose Chase this year. You have 4 days now. If Saturday doesn't work for you in an in-person event, then you can stay in the comfort and safety of your own home by doing those different activities that Abby was talking about. There's also opportunity to come out to an in-person event. We have some of those. So if you go to greentacomadays.org, that is where you will find a list of the activities and events. But also, if you want to continue this action and effort that we're doing to Green Tacoma, there are monthly work parties, there are weekly work parties where you can come out and volunteer, and you don't have to know anything about planting or restoring ecological functions and systems. You can just come out and join a volunteer or a habitat steward as they're caring for the site and learn all kind of stuff about a natural area that maybe you weren't familiar with before, or learn a new plant. There are also ways you can join a group to adopt a park. Maybe there's a park that you already walk on a regular basis that you can, bring a trash bag along with you, and we have pickers that are available that we can loan out to you, and you can do a trash pickup while you're walking your dog. There's all kinds of ways, joining one of the webinars, learning about ways that you can join the conservation efforts and be a part of the urban restoration work that's happening in Tacoma. There's, the community is a huge part of that urban ecological restoration effort, and just coming together and sharing our stories, how we connect culture to nature, and all those things are really important. It draws people to the space. There's history, there's culture, there's all sorts of things to learn. And in that learning process, I feel like you are being a part of the effort that the Green Tacoma Partnership is trying to carry out, and that mission that we're trying to accomplish.
I'm looking outside of my kitchen window and it's fall, and I keep thinking about you doing this work in fall, which is restoration work, which typically it doesn't happen. It happens in August. Is that correct, Amy?
Well, we're doing work. Typically the planting, you want to plant when it is wetter. So usually fall, or as the plants come out of kind of that winter hibernation, and they're starting to grow. So usually we want to do kind of that fall planting, or that end of winter, spring planting. So that's when we'll do a lot of those restoration work. But there's a lot of work that happens in between, fall and spring. In the summer, we need people to come out and, watering the trees this year was very difficult with the pandemic and with all of the the furloughs and layoffs within the park and the city, and our trees really suffered. And we're looking to next year at like how can we better care for these spaces and when the demands are high. And so looking for tree stewards to like adopt a tree in a park and to be able to water it and do some of those maintenance pieces, because August, really, there is all kinds of work to do year round when you're talking about restoration. Like I said, urban restoration there's a huge community component, and guess what? People love to be out in the parks in August. So definitely there's always something to do with regards to restoration work. There's the planting phase, there's your site prep, and then there's your planting, and then there's your maintenance, and then the cycle continues again. So right now, as the leaves are falling, we're kind of getting ready to kind of put the plants to sleep and plant those little babies snug in their little mulch beds. So yeah, there's definitely always something to do year round within urban, within any kind of restoration, ecological work, but definitely with urban restoration, you're constantly building community and connecting people to these spaces. And everybody loves to be out in the park and on a nice walk in a nice summer day, being shaded by those beautiful big trees. So
Amy, I want to ask Charlie this, because I know that you have it in your mind, and you've already mentioned if we're in an apartment, how can we plant a tree? Because we know we can get a hold of the website and it will direct us. But Charlie, in this last minute, tell us, if you had to pick one site you are most proud of in Tacoma for restoration, what would it be?
It's really hard to pick a favorite. It's like picking which of your children is your favorite, because each site is so special in its own way and provides something unique to the community, and even in that specific neighborhood that it sits in. And I'd love to give a shout out to the habitat stewards. These are volunteers that have stepped up and more or less adopted specific sites. And these are just incredible, amazing volunteers. They are helping to host a lot of these volunteering events at their site that is special to them. And they're dedicated and knowledgeable about urban habitat restoration. And these passionate volunteers are really the backbone of this partnership overall, and these incredible sites across the city that they care for.
I love that. Thank you so much for this. Last question for you there, Miss Abby. If I have time for just one activity this weekend coming up, because life is kind of crunchy, what would you recommend for people to do?
Hey, if you can only do one thing, I would say find out what other organizations in Tacoma need your help. Find out how you can get involved later. Just to circle back to what Amy said about the trees and the natural spaces need your help. We're always looking for volunteers. So if you have one activity, find out where to go for later in the year.
All right. I want to say thank you, all three of you, for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here, and for all of the great information. And let's get out there and clean up our parks and plant some trees. Deal?
awesome.
Sounds great. Yeah, yeah, and to go to greentacomadays.org for more information on how to sign up.
Absolutely. We've been showing that across your face. So definitely click on that link. Well, I want to tell you that wraps up another great segment of Cityline, from my kitchen into your home. It's always a pleasure and a privilege to be here with you. And we've given you some really great things to think about. So please wear your mask, wash your hands, socially distant, but don't emotionally distance from your family and friends. Stay in touch. And when we come back, as always, we'll be waiting for you right here at Cityline. Take care.
Tacoma, that's my home, yeah, Tacoma, that's my home. Tacoma, that's my home, place I call my own. Tacoma, that's my home, yeah, Tacoma, that's my home. Oh, you're from Seattle, oh, you're from LA, oh, you're from Chicago, but Tacoma Tacoma's where you'll stay. Oh, you're from Seattle. Oh, you're from LA. Oh, you're from Chicago. But Tacoma's where you'll stay, yeah. Tacoma, that's my home. From the fires to